Welcome to Good Spirit Graphics. In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at MochaBlend's revolutionary non-perspective solver. In Mocha, we'll do a non-perspective track and then turn it into real 3D motion inside Cinema 4D. Okay, let's get started. MochaBlend contains two camera solvers, each one designed to solve a different type of motion. Which one should you use for your shot? Take a look at the frames in this sequence. You'll see the hand is translating from left to right and also moving closer to the camera in each frame. This shot should be tracked in Mocha with both translation and scale, and solved in MochaBlend with the 2.5D solver. In the next image sequence, you see a hand that is translating from left to right, moving towards the camera in each frame, and is also rotating around the camera's z-axis. This type of shot can be tracked in Mocha with translation, scale, and rotation, and solved in MochaBlend with the 2.5D solver. In our final shot, you see a hand that is rotating, but it's not rotating around the camera z-axis. This is a perspective change on the plane of the hand. This type of shot should be tracked in Mocha with translation, scale, rotation, shear, and perspective. This type of motion can only be solved by MochaBlend's 3D solver. Now to work in MochaBlend, we're going to need some Mocha data. So we're going to use this shot of a pencil tracing around the outline of a pencil cup. It's a good example because it'll show the 3D motion well inside Cinema 4D. Now the first thing we're going to do is draw a spline around the part of the hand that stays mostly in the frame for the shot, and then we're going to let Mocha track the motion. We're also going to put the blue surface area in Mocha right around the area that we want to export. So we're going to put the pencil tip right in the middle of the blue surface area, and that will form the center of our tracking data export. In this shot, the tracked area has very little perspective change, so we don't want to track with either shear or perspective, so we'll set it just for translation, scale, and rotation. This will let us use the 2.5D solver in MochaBlend. Now let's track the motion. I've sped up the motion so we can save a little time here. Mocha is very quick, but we don't need to watch it in real time. Now the last thing we're going to do before we export our data is to zoom in on the pencil tip and engage the stabilization so we can follow it around the path and make sure that the blue surface area stays right on the tip. This looks like an excellent track. The blue surface area is sticking right to the pencil tip. We're going to use the new MochaBlend Tracking Data Exporter, which is new for Mocha V4. Okay, let's go back to Cinema 4D. Bringing our Mocha export into Cinema 4D is very easy and usually involves the following steps. First, pick an empty data slot. We have slot 1 selected here. Go ahead and paste in your Mocha data. Then we'll create a rig. We'll take our frame range here from our Mocha data and bring it into the Cinema 4D timeline so it matches up. Next up, we can go ahead and take our image sequence here that we tracked in Mocha, drop it into the camera view area here, and you'll see it pops up on our movie screen background. Next, we can go ahead and create a transform null and take note that we're in 2D mode here, so we're going to get a 2D transform. Then if we look at our MochaBlend rig tree here, you'll see our 2D transform is a child of our rig. Next, we can look through our camera by clicking on the rig view button. And if we scrub our timeline, you'll see our tracking data matches exactly with what we had in Mocha. Now, if we want 3D motion, the simplest way to do it is to switch to 2.5D mode here. In 2.5D mode, all we have to do is click on Transform Null again, and you'll see we have instant 3D motion. Now if we move through the camera, into the camera view, you'll see it lines up exactly with the other movement. Here's our 2D null, here's our 3D motion. Perfect match. Now if you tracked it correctly in Mocha for the 2.5D solver, that is without shear or perspective, then you should see 100% on the solve quality. If you do, then you will have a perfect solve here. Now if we want to apply our solve to an existing object here, we already have our null with our 2.5D solve here. It doesn't have to actually live right on this spot. We can change our projection settings like this. And let's go ahead and move it to about halfway in between what is the camera and the rig. So let's go ahead and click on apply, and you'll see our solve has moved into 3D space here away from our rig. But if we look through our rig, you'll see it still lines up perfectly. We'll go ahead and go through the timeline here, and you'll see it still matches up exactly. Now one thing you can do is you can position it right where you want by clicking on the Auto Key button. Now MochaBlend's 2.5D solver analyzes the data when you paste it in, so it's extremely fast. If you want to adjust it exactly where you want, you can move it around like this and it will adjust it on the fly. And I won't go into all the settings right here. You can look in the help file for those, but they all work similarly, where you can put the solve exactly where you want it. The other interesting thing you can do is, we didn't really go over how it's solving this. It's using your current rig cam settings. So if you have a focal length of 36 here, it's going to calculate the data according to that focal length. Now you see it's a little bit oval shaped. That's because our original camera was not a 36 millimeter focal length. So we can go ahead and adjust it to more something about what the camera was, probably in that range. And you'll see now it more resembles what the original cup motion was. Now it also appears to be at an angle a little bit to the cup. That's because it is preserving the original angle between the camera and the cup when it was filmed. If we want to actually place this on our ground plane here in Cinema 4D, all we have to do is click on this Motion to Floor button, which is grayed out because our rig is locked. So let's unlock our rig. We'll go ahead and click on Motion to Floor, and MochaBlend will analyze that data and position your rig so now the motion lies on your world ground plane. Now if we look at our rig, you'll see it has a red outline around the movie screen background here. That's warning you that your auto key is still on, and you want to turn that off and make sure you're not accidentally making changes when you don't want them. So let's go ahead and turn that off. And let's turn on our camera visibility, and you'll see that what we have is the camera looking down at our motion here, which has recreated the way the camera was originally shooting the hand moving the pencil tip around the outline of the cup.